What's up, guys? What's good, people? It's the Good People podcast. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know yet if I'm going to turn this into a podcast yet. But I thought I would just, start it, see where it goes. You never know. But anyways, it's your girl Spencer Lee, and I have some things to talk about. Where do we even start? First of all, can we can we talk about my hair? I know if I do put this on a podcast, which I'm not sure I will, you can't see my hair right now, but it looks crazy. I need a haircut so bad. Thank God I have one in a few days. Anyways, why are we here? What are we doing? I mean, if you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about just being tired of kind of like where I'm at in my life and wanting to make changes, and those changes having to do with making room for fun in my life again. Because I feel like it's been a lost art of having fun, and a lot of that has to do with capitalism and just basically the need to survive our economy. People don't make time to just have fun. They don't want to spend money on frivolous things because it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? It's expensive to do anything fun, to just exist, unless you're just existing at home. And who wants to do that all the time? So, and there's only so many things you can do outside of the home that are free or at least cheap. And so that's kind of where I'm at in my life. I am on this journey of trying to implement joy and fun into my life again, despite the challenges of finances. If you don't know, I am a freelance artist living in Los Angeles, California. And it's expensive out here. It is expensive. I'm grateful for the apartment that I have. It was literally a miracle from God. It's a crazy story how it all happened. Actually, I guess I'll just kind of tell you because it's kind of a cool testimony. Excuse me again. Oh my gosh. So basically my roommate / best friend that I live with right now, we were living together at my old apartment, which was owned by a friend couple of ours. And anyways, they had a baby. And so, it was just time to move out. And we were looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, and we just could not find stuff. We found some stuff that were in areas that we were like, I don't know if I want to live here. And this was before everything exploded as far as rent goes. And we were looking like literally every day. And I felt like the Lord was like, Spencer, don't look and just rest. I did not do that. I looked every single day. I am not exaggerating. When I say every single day, I mean I looked every single day. Every day. On Zillow, on apartments.com, on all Trulia, like all the different apartment websites and apps that you could look at. And it was like a month went by, and then another month went by, and we kept having to ask our friends, like, okay, we're having trouble finding an apartment. Like, please, like, is it okay if we just stay a little bit longer? Thankfully, they were really cool about it. Shout out to Hannah and Sierra. But by month 2, I was like, hey, God, what's going on? Like, I'm about to just, fork up the money and pay for a studio that has no kitchen in it and just live by myself. But God had other plans. And so one day this apartment ad popped up, and my best friend, Cassie, she sent it to me, and she was like, oh, we should check this out. This apartment ad was so sketchy. I was like, this is a joke. Like, this definitely is a scam. There's no way that this is real. The photos for it were horrible. It had like very little information about it. And I was like, this is a scam. And mind you, the price for it, I was like, in the area that it's in, I was like, no, this is definitely a scam. But I was like, whatever, nothing else has worked. This is like our last resort, so we might as well try it. So we ended up applying and showing up to the unit to see it, sure enough, it was real. And we applied, and grace of God, miracle, we were the first ones to apply. And that's kind of how they rent, is like first come, first serve type of situation. I'm pretty sure it deterred a lot of people away from the ad because the ad was so sketchy. And yeah, so that's how we got our apartment. It's like probably half the price of most apartments of the same like size in this area. And I'm grateful for it because it is rent controlled, and, you know, LA's rent prices have gone absolutely nutso. Never said that word in my life, but I mean it with my whole chest. That's what's happened. And so I'm grateful for the place I live in. However, it is so expensive in LA. Like eggs are like $7. Gas is like over $7. It's ridiculous. So anyways, back to my main point is like people don't want to spend their time and their money on things that are not work and things that aren't making them money because it's just so expensive out here. So I get it, but I'm in this place where I'm really frustrated with just waking up and going to work every day and not doing anything fun. I'm about to be 30 years old, and I'm kind of in this past quarter life crisis where I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I haven't lived, and I want to live. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I kind of want to talk about this epidemic of self-love and the role that not only self-love, but the role that social media has played on the selfishness that comes with all of that. The selfishness of self-love, because I think one beautiful thing about our generation is that they have developed some kind of regimen when it comes to self-love, and it's become something that's really important to a lot of people in our generation. However, there is a very negative side to it where it just continues to ruminate. Is that the word? I don't even know. It just cycles over and over and over again, where there isn't ever any like true healing or true knowledge and learning of what boundaries look like and how to set them so that you can go back out into the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like self-love has become, like, this is the image I have. Like, self-love has become this thing where you kind of cocoon yourself in, and it's like, me. This is my season. It's all about me. I'm, bettering myself. I'm caring for myself, and anything that doesn't serve me just can't touch me and can't be in my life and can't, be around me. But then you never turn into a butterfly and come out of your cocoon and flap your wings and live life again. It's this it becomes a very selfish thing if we're not careful. And there's a lot of things that I could equate it to. I think part of that is because our generation is so, we're so like, we've become so obsessed with self-love because of the trauma that we have endured as a generation, because the generations before us, like how they handled parenting and handled the workforce and handled all these different things. Like, we started to realize that the way they were living, their way of life, is very not much. That was not proper grammar. They were so like go. They never did any healing for themselves. And there's a lot of trauma in that generation that's now trickled down to how we were brought up. And now we've kind of said enough is enough. I'm going to heal and work on myself and do the work. And, self-love, so that I can be better for everyone else in my life, and kids if I have them, and a spouse if I decide to get married, whatever. but it hasn't gone past the stage of like me in a lot of ways. And so there's this again, I guess I call it an epidemic of sorts in this generation where there isn't the ability to work through conflict. There is this lack of ability to handle tough things, and like anything in life, a career, a relationship, a friendship, like none of that comes without trouble, without problems. Even the bestest of best relationships, the bestest of best friendships that are super healthy, none of that comes without some type of trouble and trauma and working through things. But because of this self-love situation, we don't know how to do that. And we so easily just cut people off or quit a job or, oh, this doesn't serve me anymore, so it needs to leave, or I need to leave type of thing. And we don't have any type of resiliency. We don't know how to, do conflict well. And that's what I'm finding. And it's really difficult, because with that comes a selfishness with career and selfishness with our time and our effort with friendships. And it's this idea of like, well, if that person isn't giving as much effort as me, then I'm not going to give them effort. Like I'm going to give them just as little of effort that they're giving me, rather than like relationships aren't always 50-50. They aren't always 100-100. Sometimes it's 20-80 or 60-40. And I think we've lost the art of friendship and the art of unconditional love. And as a Christian, sometimes I think about how like, what if we were so full of the love of God? What if we were so full of his grace and his mercy and his forgiveness that anything that was difficult or hurtful or whatever it is, it just rolled off our backs like water off a duck's back? Like what if we were so full of God's love, like that's what it looked like? And I think about Jesus and Judas and how like Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him. He knew that Peter was going to deny him 3 times. Like he knew this as he was doing life with these people. He knew this while he called them to follow him, to drop everything that they were doing and follow him. He knew these things. He knew as he was teaching them to be more like him and to learn his ways. He knew these things were coming. He knew this like deep betrayal was going to come from Judas. He knew that Peter was going to deny him 3 times. Knowing all of the time and effort that he was going to be putting into their relationship, their friendship. And I am like, if we're supposed to be like Jesus, if we're supposed to become more like Jesus, there has to be some level of that within how we operate in our relationships. Like I get like Jesus was perfect and we will never be perfect. So it's kind of ridiculous to think that we could ever do what he did and love unconditionally in the way that he did, on the level that he did, and the what is it? What am I trying to say? In just the perfect way that he did. Like it's I just don't think that would ever happen, because we are human and, there's sin and all that stuff, and we're just not perfect human beings. But I feel like there is some level of that unconditional love that is attainable. And I think the harmful thing with self-love, and again, like I can't even think of the scripture right now, but it talks about, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Yeah. Actually, let me look that up, because I want to accurately Yeah. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mark 12:30-31. There's no commandment greater than these. And I just find that interesting because, yes, there has to be some level of love for yourself and an understanding of the grace and the mercy that God has given you. And so out of that, you're able to pour that out into other people and in your relationships with people. And so there is some level of like, okay, you have to know how to love yourself and love who you're becoming and love the journey that God is bringing you on and out and through, in order to love others. Because I truly believe the people that are like the harshest critics and the people that treat people horribly actually deeply hate themselves and deeply criticize themselves. And it's like all of the things that they project onto other people is actually what's going on internally. So there is some level of, you do need to love yourself in order to love others well, but it can't terminate on ourselves. Like it can't be something, this love that we have for ourselves, it can't end there. The point of it is to then be able to love others well. And I'm finding in this generation, and I don't know if this is like even just I think it's everywhere, but I always feel like just living in LA, like it's just everything's heightened here. And I feel like that is a major issue in this city, is just so much obsession with self. And I'll say this too. I was thinking about this earlier. I think social media plays a huge role into this as well. Oh my God, so many thoughts. I feel like what initiates the journey of self-love in anyone's life is the realization that there's a lot of internal hate or internal, there's like jealousy, or you don't like yourself. You don't like what you're doing, where you're at, whatever. You don't like how you're being treated by people. And so there's all this internal stuff that's happening that then initiates the self-love journey. And I think social media has a lot to do with that. First of all, it's so detrimental to our mind, bodies, and spirits and souls to be looking at a feed all day on a brick, like literally just a brick that could just